A very good morning to you watching. This is Smart Minutes Visit here in Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. Well, today is the 6th of February 2024, and it is still a new month. So definitely, yesterday was day one of taking back to school kids to school officially, and we hope that today is going to be the same. Of course, around evening time, someone was complaining about the traffic, and what came to mind was the fact that kids they're going back home, so the parents have to take their kids home. So definitely, we're always here to drive your business 24/7. So in case you need any inquiry, we can always be here to oblige. Well, I'm with Charlotte Ronnie, and today we're going to be looking at rationalizing government agencies. And of course, it has been in the pipeline for the past 2 years. Since 2021, they proposed it, the government act, no, not the government, the president proposed that they would actually rationalize these agencies. And of course, the main reason, actually, if I may say, different agencies, and of course, they consist of commissions, authorities, parastatals, and the likes. So definitely, you find in every entity, in every agency, they have the similar functions. It's like having a family and your kids have the same responsibility. How is that even reasonable?
There's a child who takes care of the young ones. There is a child who makes sure mommy's fine. There's a child who makes sure mommy doesn't find out these things. And then there's that one who is always the problem child. So everybody has a different role.
Yeah, so it has to be, that's how it's supposed to be.
A very good morning to our viewers. Of course, thank you for joining us. I'm Ronnie Charlotte. Of course, we're going to be talking about the mergers. And this is something that you actually look at in very many different perspectives. Most especially when you put it with our businesses that we have in Uganda. We have some supermarkets that you look at and you say, you know what? If this supermarket and this supermarket came together, you would find that we have something really great to come out. Or if this company and this company come together. There are some beverage companies you see have very little capital, and you say to yourself, you know what? I wish this company can go with this company. Maybe they would make something proper and something bigger, something more functional and something more long-lasting. But it's Uganda, everybody for themselves.
Yeah, well, of course, you talk about government agencies.
Yeah.
I mean, now they proposed, and of course, there was a fact that some people may lose their jobs.
Of course.
And of course, a certain amount of money was proposed for those that whose jobs will be lost. So my question is, of course, yes, they've been working in these different agencies and authorities. Is it really reasonable? I mean, people have lost jobs, like about 2 hours, have lost jobs. And you have to go and look for another job. There's no compensation whatsoever.
Some of these civil servants tend to be very selfish. There's a certain age you have to get to, and you say, you know what, let me let the young bees come and actually do the job. And they let it go. It's not retirement. Let them go do something else.
You can be a consultant. You can just help in and come in once in a while.
But the problem with these people, they feel like once I have this desk, the desk is mine. It's not going anywhere. At the end of the day, they don't want to leave. But if you leave that job for the young bees to come and actually also get that training that you've had for 20 years, you're still working in the same office, and 30 years, you still go back and you find the same person there. Let them go do something else, something private. Let them live it.
Do us part.
Yeah, they want to die on their job.
Death do us. It's the kind of thing they're doing. So one of the reasons as to why, so they want to have less duplication of roles. Yeah, like I said, you find every agency has the same person, so if they merge them together, they can have one person. Yeah. You find actually, have you realized you go to different offices just to get one thing finished?
Yes.
So imagine if those entities were combined, UNRA and some other road agencies were combined, it would be easy for you. You come from this floor, you go to this floor. Instead of going, you get a border to Kingdom Kapala, you get another one.
They would even save land in town. They are congesting the town where other things can be done. They have more than 4 offices for one thing. It doesn't make sense. And at the end of the day, when they have different offices, that means it is our taxes that are what? That are going to be used at the end of the day, because they have to pay wherever they are. Of course, it is government land, but they have to have more workers and a bigger number. There's some work they give to 3 different people that can be done by one person.
Yes, exactly.
And you find them in office, these people sleeping during lunch hours. And you say, well, what is the problem? You're like, no, me, I'm done with my part. Somebody else needs to finish the part in the middle there. Then there's someone who's supposed to do the conclusion of the part. You're like, really? Why don't they just give it to one person so we can know we are saving money on these people that are many that we are actually employing?
So I think that is
government.
the whole purpose of these merging of agencies. They want to reduce or actually also on the expenditure.
Yes.
So imagine now different roles, different people, and the amounts. It's a lot. It's a lot. You have, like you said, you have people who do. One person is supposed to do one thing, but then
It is
4
3
people.
yes.
4 people are doing the same, almost the same thing. I mean, you're spending a lot.
You know, some people like to have this thing of there's the supervisor, then there's the manager, then there's someone else, ground floor manager, and then before you know it, there's someone else. Those are 4 people, like you said. And if they, without looking at manager, supervisor, all that, just put one person who is the manager. Meaning by the time this person is the manager, this person can do the job better than these people. So just have the one person do the job, and that is it. So that we save this salary. This is where they end up telling us we are paying ghost workers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it is us who are paying.
The taxpayers.
It is
So the
very sad
taxpayers
for
are the
Ghana.
ones that face it rough at the end of the day. Us, the taxpayers, us, the taxpayers, and of course, apart from that, it's gonna be for convenience purposes. Like I said, if you want to have like different stamps, I don't need to move from. You get a border where you don't have even a car. You get a border from this ministry to the other one to the other one. Small things, you know. So if they merge them together, it's gonna be easier for people. You come from one office to the other, and you finish. You don't spend much on transport or maybe fuel, I may say. And of course, they also talked about the other issue of talking about expenditure. You see, you've seen a number of vehicles being parked.
Yeah.
They don't use, like, why? You know, and these big, huge vehicles they give to these ministers and different.
You find a minister having
secretaries.
4 cars and you ask yourself, why?
Well,
Like, why?
Well, I think the extra.
So is the
thing
handbag in one of the cars, and then the shoes in the next car, then the person themselves in the other car, then the security is also in the other car? I don't get it.
Well, I should, maybe those are the extra 3 may be his or hers, but then these other extra people, then the permanent secretary has to be given a car, then the secretary also somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of expenditure that goes into.
But 1 car would be enough with security.
Yeah.
There is that police car that they usually put ahead, then the car that the person is in. Okay, what if there is the person inside the car that is doing the security minus the police car that is doing security?
It's not enough.
Because the police car itself, they have to put fuel. Then the car that this person is sitting in, they have to put fuel. And that is money. And you know every day they have to put full tank.
Yes.
It's very sad.
So definitely that is the kind of, of course these agencies, they were under, some of them are under the Constitution of 1995, some of them are the company's laws, and of course others acts of Parliament. So that is how some commissions and agencies came about. You've heard of the Land Board Commission, those commissions. You find in land, Ministry of Land, they're like very many commissions. They're like, what? And there are very many boards. Like even some boards were held with people like that. Very many, find a certain board has like 12 people. A board. Board of governors. Yeah? Just imagine 12 people. What is that for? That is extra money.
Yeah,
Have
you're
7,
spending your
have
money.
5 people, and that is enough.
Well, at the end of the day, we see that every year thousands of mergers take place from national corporations to regional companies. So if these small companies come together and we get one big company, it would be good for the country itself, because that means we've saved space where we are spending the taxes in one place and at one time, and we are employing less workers so that other job creators can actually also have space. You might find, like here in company, we have so many property companies. But you ask yourself, what if they merge together? And they go into one big building? They say, okay, everybody has a desk, but they are in one building. They are all property consultants.
So that's easier for you.
Yes, but at the end of the day, you find that there's one here, there's one there. and it's in all different areas. And before you know it, that is why you're going to find the people that are going to steal from you. But if they have one building and they have laws that govern them, they have rules that they follow, you as a person, you feel safe. You say, you know what, at the end of the day, even if this person steals from me, I know where to find them. And you know, when sometimes you enter a building, you say, this person is here. What if I come back tomorrow after giving them the money and they are gone? But when you know they are in a permanent place, and at the end of the day, even if they steal from you, you're going to go back and say, Mercy sold me the property, but I'm not getting through to her. So there's no way people will be able to steal from the clients.
Well, I believe on the other hand, it's okay merging of different companies from the small to bigger ones, you know, so that maybe they could find a means of balancing payments and all that. But of course, you realize when it comes to companies, people have different, I don't know if coming together would mean being in the same office, because they have different visions, admissions, and, you know, the likes. Maybe we could share a building. Yeah, like you said, we could share a building, because if they're too much, trust me, people have different ideologies. They'll fight. You know, Uganda, they will fight. At the end of the day, they've lost a lot. That is why people have different, wherever they are, because they can determine their price. They know how to negotiate for themselves. But that could work for the small business or small business
owners.
So you merge with a friend, or I'm talking about now business, going back to the normal person. You know, you merge with if your friend has a bigger business, you find means of making sure you pay your share and they pay their share.
Yes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, to not have conflicts. Yeah.
Okay, and of course we see the economics of scope. Mergers and bring economics of scope that aren't always possible through organic growth. So we see that at the end of the day, the scope is helping economically. So I don't know how to actually put it, but if we look the ecosystem, like you talked about it last time, you see different countries are actually coming through. They're working with the plastic. They're saying, you know what, this plastic is gone. So if we come together as a country, like you said, if the countries come together and they say we are done with the plastic, this would be good for Africa as a country. So if we see that the ecosystem is also supported, that means economically the country will be supported. These drainage systems that are actually blocking, you see them, they'll get better. And at the end of the day, the roads that are getting spoiled because of the heavy rains, it will also get better.
Well, do you know how much we would actually save if we merged 900 billion to a trillion, if we merged these agencies?
Which agencies?
The government agencies. If we merged them together, we could save trillions of money out of this.
But the government doesn't see it that way.
No. They're suggesting, in 2017, the president himself suggested.
Yes, they are suggesting, but you know, there are going to come people out that are actually going to fight it, because they know at the end of the day, they're going to be losing.
We shall not let it win. We have to rationalize this for the betterment of our country, because we want to spend less. I mean, now the budget is going to be cut. Yes. So definitely they're going to be reducing expenditure. We want to find ways of reducing expenditure, public expenditure. We spend, actually, you're going to spend on unnecessary things. If you're an MP and you're in the second term, you don't need to have another car. Use the salary you've been earning on the allowances to get yourself a brand new car. Yes. Simple.
But the salary they make, at the end of the day, I feel like they're not content. Because each time they feel like they need to be increased. So if you're telling them, if they come together, they have to save, they'll look at all those trillions and billions you're saving, they'll say, my pocket is getting empty, because they're saving that money for the country.
You know, actually, there's a certain country that actually reduce salaries of their members of parliament and ministers.
Yes, they do. Yes. They usually do.
But for now, Uganda is a different case. They'd be like, I want money to lobby. We want to go in our districts and lobby, sensitize the people. What do you do? I mean, the LCs, how much do you think LCs earn?
They earn very little.
They earn very little, and they're now extorting money from the villagers, If you want a stamp, pay 10,000. If you want this, give me a certain amount of money. You can imagine that kind of atrocity happening in Uganda. That is why so far, even as much as the teachers strike, as much as the doctors strike, they will come up and say, you're not paying, you're not raising your salaries.
But we also see that members of parliament usually ask for increment. The ministers, they want increment. But you see, when the teachers came out and said they wanted salary increment, you remember what they came out and told them? They told them there's no money because it's the teachers. Even when the doctors were saying they need more money, they say there's no money. But when these people in the parliament want money, there is a way that money appears out of nowhere. And yet all they do is go there, discuss things that actually never bring results for us.
They are the law. That is why we need rule of law. They are the law. So, man, you cannot object the law. Well, of course, it's just 15 minutes, 16 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, right about now, we get into what is happening into the press. And of course, with us, we have the Daily Monitor and New Vision. And of course, talking about the agencies, interesting news right here. And procurement, 127 agencies blacklisted. Well, PPDA wants sanctions against accounting officers. Well, accounting officers actually, I think the hardest job in the world is becoming an accountant, because in case of any missing monies, you're held accountable, held responsible. So talking about,
it gets more serious.
Talking about mergers, some of them have been blacklisted. Yeah. So very soon, people are going to be on the streets, and the streets are not simple. Well, and of course, undercover in Mulago Hospital, cleaning the mess takes a toll. And of course, Tarehe Sita, 43 years of army discipline. And of course, the First Lady calls for collective effort to rebuild schools. Okay.
And of course, here in the Daily Monitor, we are seeing inside the rise of out-of-office jobs. Many people are leaving office jobs and doing what they are really good at.
If you're on the blacklist, I think for them, if I was on the blacklist among those agencies, trust me, I would find my way of leaving before they announce it. Yeah.
And of course, here we are seeing courses one can do after P7 and Senior 4. That means if you fail to get school fees for your child to go back in Senior 1 and Senior 5, it is okay.
It's okay.
You can find a simple course for them to go and do.
I'm very sure one of these days that's what parents are going to do. You know, go for different courses to improvise, where you would be in Senior 1 to Senior 4, you do. Then after, you go and do things on your own, business or something.
But I wish Ugandan schools can actually change, and we have half day where students go back to school at around 1 and then they have to do something else.
Co-curricular activities.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, many schools are reporting a slow return to class of students. Many of the schools are having a few numbers of students coming back, and the biggest numbers are still home. They're not returning. And of course, government seeks 228 billion shillings for the 3 cancer centers. Wow, Uganda. And billions and trillions.
We have money.
We are rich.
Definitely. There is no...
And of course, you see here, 76 socio-economic transformation. And of course, recently I was in a small walk with you. The teachers, when we got a little bit of money, we decided to enhance the salaries of scientists. Museveni says.
No, what about the other Rubazo, like the arts teachers? It's unfair. I can't be earning 500,000 and the other one is on 2 million. What's that?
It should be fair. If the other
At
one
least
is
1
earning
million,
500, this one get 800 or 1 million. You can't do like, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And of course, first term 2024, parents plead for mercy over school fees. I mean, we've seen things running around social media about certain schools, a kindergarten school, a kindergarten child paying 3 million, which is more than the money I used to pay as tuition at campus. You people.
But you know, schools have become businesses.
Oh God.
This is something that is actually
we should
really serious.
merge as well and set up a school. Well, of course, right about now, we're into the traffic updates. And of course, maybe if you could, show us which road. Yes, those are the traffic lights right there. People do not know colors. Some people are colorblind. That is red.
Thank you, Marcy and
That
Charlotte.
is
And
great.
definitely, I'm coming live here, the Wondergate Traffic Lights Junction, getting to observe the traffic atmosphere. And of course, like we understand, just a few days back, actually, it was yesterday and Sunday, depending on the schools, we had our children reporting back to school all the way from the long holidays. And you can definitely experience that there has been a change when it comes to the transportation, most especially in the morning hours, as some schools, most especially the nursery schools, are resuming class, and that is actually responsible for why we see congestion in some parts of the city center. And of course, there are 3 lanes that connect up to these particular traffic lights. And firstly, let's take a look at the Makere Road, one of the routes that I know that is highly inflated, most especially when it comes to traffic lights. So chances are high if you're coming in from areas like Kasubi, you're coming in from Waise, and you link up to the Sir Apollo Road, well, you're likely to get some little bit of delays due to the massive traffic lights before you land in here. And still to understand that it's the traffic officers in the entire control of the vehicles. So that can also explain why we can see the traffic that we are observing. But of course, they do this to make sure that there is strict adherence to the rules to avoid the possible accidents that can happen on a very early morning. So you can clearly see above, that is close to the Makere main gate, there is still vehicles that are held down. Now, some have been coming in from Waise. They came in through that route, the Sir Apollo Junction. So they linked up to this particular side. So they are coming to these destinations. So that is a clear observance. Same to the people that are coming in from Kasubi side, Nakulabia side. It's the same fate that you're likely to face. Now let's switch our eyes and take a look at the Bombo Road. Yeah, Bombo Road, talking about people that are coming in from areas like Matuka, Maganjo, even Waise, they can actually link up to that route. You can see it's also slightly congested. Yes, and before I came in here, vehicles were held for quite some time before they were set free. And this is a route that is mainly known for having quite a number of public vehicles. Definitely basing on the area, it's more of those areas with people with slightly unfair income levels, unstable income levels, let me say that. Places like, most especially Matuga, Maganjo, all those areas along Bombo Road. It's also a congested route, actually, as you get along that. So the vehicles that are from that route are also held a bit. There is need to be a little bit patient. So if you're using the Bombo Road and you're coming in from Maganjo, Matuga, you're likely to spend about 5 to 7 minutes there before you're set free to head to any other given destination. 5 to 7. Actually, minimum could be 7. You could even spend 10 minutes there waiting to be set free for the next move. Now let's switch our eyes and take a look at the route that takes us straight to Mulago roundabout, the Mulago area. Yes, actually vehicles here have according to what I've observed, 5 minutes maximum when they're held before they are set free to the given destination. Even the borders that prefer to be so fast, which we consider the quickest transport means, when they reach here, they have to be patient. That is, if you're coming in from Mulago side, you're coming in from Kamocha side, and you're probably coming to the city center, you will definitely have to be patient a bit. I bypassed the Mulago roundabout. It's free, actually. It's not so heavily congested, just like on certain days, probably, maybe later on in the week, it will get a little bit more congested, or even later in the day, it will get congested, but it's very fine so far. So these are the vehicles that we're observing, and majority of them are actually heading to Makere Road and proceed to different destinations. But however, if you're coming in from the Mulago Road side, away from the roundabout, and you're heading to the city center, well, it's definitely a walkthrough for you. Same applies. I can see some border borders that are coming in from that side, and they're definitely heading towards the city center. If that is a straight ticket for you, a straight ticket for you. But if you're heading to Makere Road, well, you have to be patient a bit. 5 to 7 minutes intervals. 5 to 7 minutes intervals as they're held. Now, finally, let's switch our eyes and take a look at Kampala Road. Definitely all these routes coming in from the different destinations heading to Kampala. Of course, 80% are heading to Kampala or to the nearby suburbs of Kampala. So we can get to observe and see. And ahead actually, as you bypass the route that takes you, as you bypass YMCA, there is some slight congestion along Kampala Road in the middle there. And of course, largely explained due to the massive routes that are all connecting to this one route, Kampala Road. So you can see some sort of congestion. Of course, some are branching off from the YMCA route and they proceed to the different destinations. But for those that are heading to the city center, as much as you're delayed here, you're likely to find another congestion just ahead. So you can see those are the vehicles that are coming in from the Bombo Road. They're also just been released, which has been also congested with massive vehicles. So they're heading to the city center. So if you're coming in from the city center to Wandega, it's okay. But there is some sort of a congestion where the vehicles collide somewhere. So you need to be in time. You need to do everything you do in time. And that brings us to the end of the traffic report this morning. Of course, I've been Andrew Barige, coming live here at the Wandega traffic light. And at this particular time, let me take you back to studio with Charlotte and Masika Tsime. Stick around.
Thank you, Andrew, for that beautiful report. And of course, as you can see along the Wandega traffic lights right then, of course, not so much traffic. And maybe students would have used other means. Most of them use shuttles. And by now they're in class. By 7 they're in class. So there's no need to there's no need for all of us to why probably there's no traffic on the way. Well, of course, it's just a few minutes, 28 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, just we're going to go for a short breather. Just take a sip of coffee and we shall be right back with Aribu and International Business News.